Welcome, everybody, to the Digital Nomad Experts podcast by Commute. Today, you've got Jeff and Marissa, and we're going to talk about 3 cool companies that will let you work from anywhere in the world. For this episode, I've gone through the Anywhere Atlas, which is our database of only fully remote companies that hire people that can work from anywhere in the world. I picked out 5 companies that I really liked, ones that really stood out to me. Marissa has no idea what these companies are, what they do. This is going to be a total surprise to her. So I'm going to tell her about these awesome companies that you can work for as an example of some of the things that we have of the 300 plus in the Anywhere Atlas. And I'm going to let her respond and maybe give some opinions from a career coaching standpoint, from just an observer standpoint. Hey, I like this. Maybe I don't like this. I have no idea what she's going to do. It's going to be a bit of a surprise attack today, which should be kind of fun. And hopefully, as a result, you're going to hear some of these companies. And first off, if you really like the company, you'll just get right in and apply to any of their open positions if they have them listed right now, or inspire you to check out more companies and realize that these companies, these awesome companies to work for, do exist. They're very, very hard to find, but they do exist, and they do let you work from anywhere. And that's how a lot of people become digital nomads and start traveling the world.
And to add a quick thing to that before we jump right in, I'm super excited. Well, I love that you've picked them out as well. I'm excited to be surprised, but we're really excited for you to hear these companies as an inspiration. So maybe you'll love these exact companies that Jeff said, and you'll want to apply, and maybe you found your dream company and they'll let you work from anywhere while you travel anywhere in the world that you want, or work remotely from home, wherever you want to be. But also, I think as you listen to this, even if you don't want to work for this exact company, or it's not what really lights your soul on fire, a lot of the point of this episode is for you to feel inspired, to realize there are so many cool companies out there that let you work from anywhere. And I think, I know over time, we've had so many beach commuters write in and say what type of companies will actually let you work remotely? Or I know there's a lot of prestige sometimes that comes along. They're like, oh, these companies they're gonna pay me less, and I think they're some kind of weird fluke companies that are gonna go under, and I'm gonna be living in Thailand, and then they're gonna stop paying my salary. There's a lot of fears that come behind what are these companies that are letting people work from anywhere? So as you listen, know that these are real companies. They're cool companies. I don't know what Jeff has chosen, but I know a lot of the companies in the Anywhere Atlas, and they're cool. You've probably chosen cool ones. So they're legitimate, they're cool, they're probably not going to go high and dry and stop paying you. We've done our research, employees like working there. So just start to think outside of the box of maybe your traditional companies that you're used to, that you've heard of, and just feel a little bit inspired to know that these type of companies out there. These are just 5 from the Anywhere Atlas, but there are hundreds in there. So with that, get excited. You can work from anywhere while you travel. There's tons of cool companies out there, and I'm excited to see what Jeff has chosen. So with that, should we jump right into number 1?
Yeah. Okay. Number 1, company called Automattic. And that is, It's not spelled as intuitive as you think. It's automattic.com.
Yes.
And so the first one is Automattic. And Automattic has made a whole bunch of different products around web development. So the most popular one is WordPress.com. And you've got WordPress, which is a free version that you've probably heard of. Most websites are actually made on WordPress. And the free version is one that you just implement, and then you custom design out your own WordPress design. We've done that with our own website. They have WordPress.com, which they manage, they host, and it's very, very easy. It's an all-in-one type of platform. If you're looking to build a website, like a drag and drop builder, they do the hosting, they do, you can register your domain through them, all that kind of stuff. It's a really easy one and done type of solution. So they've done that. They've done a whole bunch of other things that are associated with WordPress, like Jetpack, which helps you with different aspects of the website. Gravatar, another thing that helps you with your website. You probably heard of Tumblr, some of you that date back to dating myself even. Tumblr was my first website. It was kind of like a blog world type of thing. Yeah. Yeah, my first website was at Tumblr.
One of my best friends used to work there way back in the day. That
I
is,
don't even know if they're around anymore, but that was great. It's like good for getting your feet wet. It's like
they got bought out by Yahoo at one point.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay. Well, they were the beginnings of this. WooCommerce. We're familiar with that one. They've done a whole lot of really awesome stuff. Let's talk about what it's like to work there. They've got an extensive, what I really like to see is when you go to some of these careers pages, these about pages, they talk a lot about what it's like to work at the company. And what that tells me is they put a ton of care into their culture and their employees. They put a lot of thought into what it's like to work there and about like what kind of environment they want to foster, which is always a good thing for the employees. So let's talk about some of the things that they've got on their site here. How we work. This isn't your typical work from home job. The culture. Everyone works from the location they choose. I love that kind of language.
Yes, love to hear it. I'm like, snap.
What do you think when a company says everyone gets to work from the location they choose?
To me, I actually love that, especially for a company that's been around for a while. On the last episode, you and I were talking about, like, typically it's the newer companies that have this language, but it seems like they've been around for a bit. So it's a little bit surprising to me that actually they have this language, which makes it pretty cool. But as we've talked about throughout these episodes, and as we've looked at tens of thousands of websites of career pages, about us pages, different job opening pages, it's often really confusing. It'll be like remote anywhere, but then it'll be like, we have an office here, and it's like 10% of the people are in the office, and you're like, it's just always really confusing. So when a company straight out says, like, we work from anywhere you want, we let people work from anywhere, like, you get to choose any of that language, I'm just like A+++ for what we're doing, which is like, we want to be able to travel while we work. You want to be able to work from anywhere, any continent, any country that you want to. So when you see language like this, I'm just like, gold star, this is great.
Crystal clear, exactly.
Yes.
And also when they're using that kind of language, it implies a sense of trust. Like they're really saying, we trust you to do your job. We're hiring people, we're hiring professionals that know what they're doing, and we want you to be happy from where you're working. So let's go on. There's a few more notes in here that are really interesting. I think we're spread out all over the world in 93 countries. We track about 70% of our projects through P2-themed WordPress.com blogs, which is interesting. I've never heard that before. 25% in private chat rooms, and the rest on Slack. So they're all async, basically, because of our geographic.
That means asynchronous.
Thank you.
Jeff is using, which means you don't have to necessarily even work the same time zones, which is like, that's like A+++++. That's like the even more gold star, if we could give more gold stars, which means you're flexible in time zones. You don't have to work 9 to 5 Eastern time. If you're in Europe, like, you get more flexibility, which is really cool as a nomad.
Let me one up that, because there's even more language in here that adds another plus.
Jeff, you chose well.
This is one that gets me, speaks deeply to my heart. We care about the work you produce, not just the hours you put in. Boom.
This is like your TED Talk.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like sometimes even more than letting you work from anywhere, I feel like you just want to be treated as an adult, as an employee. I'm talking about Jeff, but probably anyone listening as well, which is you're not micromanaged. Like, you get to, like someone says, here's your job. We trust you. Go do it. They're not going to breathe down your neck, make you work certain hours, look over every little single thing you do. It sounds like they really want to trust employees and give you like freedom to do your job and do it well.
We had a podcast a while back. I don't know if you remember, with like the characteristics of digital nomads. And one of the characteristics we noted was we kind of don't like to be told what to do, kind of have like a little bit of a rebel streak in us. Yeah. And that really comes out when I think about the workplace and how you should treat employees. Yeah. And this one sentence just like alleviates all that, or removes all of that strain from me. Let me talk about, I'd like to get your opinion on this, because they've got an interesting idea as part of the onboarding. When you make it past, I'm just reading directly from the website. When you make it past the interview stage, we'll do a project together on contract, typically lasting between 2 to 6 weeks, depending on how much time you can spend, to see how we work together. When you join full-time, you'll do customer support for the first 2 weeks and then spend a week in support annually, forevermore, regardless of your position. We believe an early and ongoing connection with the people who use our products is irreplaceable. So there's a little bit to unpack here, but how do you feel about this idea of like a trial period? You and me, we both do a trial period on both ends to see how well we like each other.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about both of those things and the
Okay.
customer service part as well.
Tell
But
me.
to start with the first part of that trial run, I feel like it's great for a company. So I was actually like my nerdy career coach self. I was listening to like a career podcast or something the other day, and it was talking about this where it's like, it's kind of like dating. It's like what you wouldn't agree to marry someone like the second you meet them. You want to date them and see how they do and see what it works. And that's kind of what this trial period is like as well. So the goal is to hire you full time, assuming you do well, but it kind of gives from an employer, like if I was hiring someone, I would love that. I think what makes it a little bit scary potentially on the other end is it's like if you were unemployed and started to do this, it sounds like they're paying them. It's not like work for free and we'll see. So I like that. But it could be a little bit scary to potentially leave a new job. Like if you have a job, most people will then, put in your 2 weeks notice, leave the job, take the new job and start it. So it could be a little bit scary to quit your job to do a contract to 3 months later, potentially not have a job.
Go out on a limb a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know the goal of this is obviously like they hope it goes well and they want to hire you. So assuming that intention, it feels great. That would be great on both sides. And like you said, if 2 or 3 months go by, if you as an employee don't like working there, also kind of gives you an out. But I would say like, maybe, I don't know, this is my career coach side. If there was sort of like a little bit less committal way, not to give like full time for 2 to 3 months, but to say like, hey, let's do this project that maybe will take you 3 hours a week or something like that you can kind of deliver, start work with us, or like an hour a week, or something that you could do on top of your current job to sort of say like, you can see how I work, you can prove it, but like I still need to maintain my full-time potential employment until like this is a sure thing. So sort of mixed feelings there. Maybe that downgrades it slightly, but I totally get the intention behind it. And I do agree with it. Like I think more people could and should be doing this type of like, hey, here's a little project. Show me what you can do. I'd love to communicate with you, see how you work and see if you're a good fit. And then we'll hire you. So there's something to that, but yeah, that could be a little bit tricky.
Yeah. And I love that you're giving real honest feedback on this as opposed to just puffing up these companies. As you will see in the Anywhere Atlas, there's like, they are companies, and there are like
everyone will have pros and cons,
and not all of them are going to be perfect.
We are not affiliated with any of these companies. They don't know that we are talking about this right now on the podcast. No one has paid us to do this. This is really us just saying like, hey, if you're on job searching, here's the real deal. Here's the kinds of things that you'll see on websites, how to navigate it, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things. So yeah, we'll be honest here.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, this is such an interesting one because there's another aspect that I want to get your opinion on too. And there's a section on here on meeting up. And typically, just as a rule of thumb, if there are requirements to go into the office, we don't include them in the Anywhere Atlas. So this wouldn't make the list. But in this particular instance, this is more of like a retreat. And these types of retreats I actually see as kind of a positive. Most people that work fully remote actually look forward to these types of things, and I'm going to tell you why. Because in this description, they describe awesome places they've met for 7 days on the year in La Paz, Mexico, Oracle, Arizona, the Netherlands, Amsterdam, Spain, Madrid, UAE, England, Mexico City, Vienna, Vietnam, everywhere. Like they've gone to so many different cool places for just like hanging out as a team, brainstorming cool stuff. And I don't see this is not an office. This is like a company retreat to cool locations. Yeah. So in these instances, I'm fine with including these as part of a work from anywhere company because it still is. And I think it's actually kind of a cool thing that they're bringing you to new places.
Yeah, I feel like the pros and cons kind of like cancel. You started to create the Anywhere Atlas. We were debating like if a company does make you go once a year for 7 days to a retreat, like do you really have 100% freedom to be anywhere every 365 days a year, which is something that is really important to me. I'm like, what if that week I happen to be in like Vietnam and they're making me fly to the US? Like, what if I don't want to, So it's a little bit tricky in that way. In that sense, I think it's like a slight con, but I think the pro that makes up for it and the reason we included it is like, it's 1 week of the whole year and it's not meant to be a limiting freedom of like, you can't travel or you can't go anywhere. As Jeff said, it's actually something people really look forward to. They're usually all expenses paid. Like if a company is making you do this, it's usually your flight is paid, your hotel's accommodation. It's usually in a cool location. So there's that. It's like an all expense paid trip somewhere. And then also you get to meet employees. So for me, I love full remote freedom. I'm fine working on Zoom because I feel like you and I have a lot of digital nomad friends we're always with. We've got a good community, but a lot of people like really want to get to know their counterparts. Like they want to meet in person, and it makes it easier to work moving forward. So I totally get why this is a thing. This is why we allow it on the Anywhere Atlas. But yeah, I can see it's like slight con, good pro, and it kind of equals out in my opinion.
Let's lastly go to some of the perks that they offer their employees. Also, another thing that I really love seeing, very straightforward, very transparent with the way they treat their employees and the things that they offer them.
Yeah.
It's all listed out here. So first thing, professional development. They will pay you for hardware, software, books, anything related to professional development and learning. They very much encourage that. Wellness. Offer mental wellness benefits, including employee assistance program, subscription to the mindfulness app, Headspace, 10% happier, all those ones that use it is great. Virtual ergonomic tips, stretch videos, yoga exercises, all that kind of stuff.
Like remote work friendly.
I
love they also have, I have their website open now too on their About Us page. It says where we are, and they have like a kind of living alive map that has like pictures of their employees all over the world. It's really cool. There's
93 countries.
It's in it's Africa, South America, Asia, Middle East, Australia. Like I'm looking, it's like it looks like it's really, they really are everywhere. So again, this shows when they have something like this, it's like they walk the talk, or is that the phrase, or whatever it is? Like put their money where their mouth is. I don't know, whatever phrase you want to use.
You usually get those backwards, but you got that one.
Always. Yes. I was like, that sounds wrong, but yeah, like they're really doing it, so that's cool.
A few more things in here. They offer career coaching, parental leave up to 6 months fully paid, time off, open vacation policy, so as many as you want, but they encourage you to take at least 25 days off. I love seeing that because you don't typically see that when a company posts unlimited PTO.
Yeah, so like hoping you'll secretly take less.
As a note, sometimes it's a bit of a trap. Like companies will lure in employees with that offering of unlimited PTO because it's such a sexy thing, but there's like social pressure to not take that. This company encourages you to take 25 days off, which is great. So that's 5 full weeks minimum. Is what they want. Anniversary awards. I don't know what that is. Sounds good. Home office.
Like if you stay at a company for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, you like get cool things.
I guess so. Like, paid 3 months sabbatical encouraged every 5 years. That's amazing. Badass. I've never heard of that before.
That's cool. I've heard a couple that do. I have a friend in Atlanta who works, like they get 1 month sabbatical every 5 years. And that guy stayed at that company to get it. He was like everything to get that 1 month. So one, it's cool they do 3 months. And two, also, when you're living as a nomad, you don't really need it in the same way. But it's still nice time off. That's cool.
Exactly. Home office, they'll pay you for co-working allowances and things like that. And for the requisite latte. Love that. Compensation. We prioritize internal equity and review your pay every 12 to 18 months. Amazing. Life insurance also paid for as well. Doesn't say what the insurance is, like your health insurance. I'm sure that's
benefits, things like that.
Yeah, it's not in there. But yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. If they're covering lattes, I'm sure that's part of it. And then some of the examples, some of the current job openings, you can look through the website. Program manager, director of compliance, director of life cycle marketing, event producer, sales, systems engineer, finance executive, technical account manager, another account manager. So as we were talking about in the previous episode, people often ask which industries people hire for that are like more likely to be fully remote types of jobs. There is no real industry. Like it doesn't lean in any particular direction because there's so many roles within every industry that can lend itself well to fully remote positions. As I just
You're saying what fields to work for. So not necessarily the industry of the company, but like what field should you get into of like finance, accounting, marketing?
It can be across. Regardless of the company's industry that they're in. Every company. Thank you for summing that up. Regardless of the industry the company's in, they're going to need roles across all kinds of different disciplines.
Amazing. And that's Automattic. And the one thing, their website actually surprised. It's like, I feel like if I came across this website just stumbling, I don't know if I would trust it at first. It seems sort of like a weird, it's like very black and white. If you look at, like, check it out if you're listening. Like, it seems, especially for a company that makes websites, or maybe they're just different. Like, it's not your normal, like, pictures and this. It's like, it looks like I'm reading a newspaper from a long time ago. So I'd be like, what is this? I don't know, but I'm for it. Like, now that we've dug into it, it's really cool. It's really simple, very straightforward. So yeah, they seem super legit, and they get all approvals from me.
Okay, with that, we got your gold star. Let's see if we can do it again. So the next one on the list is Bejamas, and that's not spelled how it sounds. It is Bejamas, and they do website development. So unlike WordPress or the last one, which created tools to create websites, they actually create websites. So their mission is to deliver exceptionally fast, stable, and secure websites and applications.
Interesting. Another website type company. And by the way, I also want to say, as you're doing this, like, we are not, I know I mentioned, like, no company is paying us to do this. These are ours, but we also are not associated with these companies and can't vouch for these companies as well. We do our best research, but, like, if they do something weird in the news tomorrow, like, we're not associated with them. We just do our best to help you understand, like, what companies are hiring from anywhere, what do you look for, what's cool, all of that. So I feel
they don't even know we're talking about them. This is I just picked these companies today, so this is like this is all
another second disclaimer there.
Yeah,
okay, go on.
you.
Tell me more about Bahamas. I wonder if you say it Bahamas. I don't even know. Like,
I don't know. I wanted to say Bejamas.
Bejamas.
I want to say Bejamas.
See, we really don't.
We don't know.
This company, as you can
so
tell, we don't even know how to say it.
This is proof. We don't know. Yeah, if you need any more evidence that we're not affiliated with these companies, there you go. We don't even know how to say their names. All right,
tell me about this company.
I love, one more note, I love on their homepage here,
Yeah.
right in the header, composable web design development optimization, zero bullshit, pure expertise, numerous happy customers. If they're swearing on the homepage, I feel like they're a company I would probably get along with them pretty well.
To meet you, anyone who works there.
Yeah. I'll throw this on LinkedIn and see if we get any hits. I'd love to talk to some of these companies and kind of get their vibe to see where they're coming from. Okay, so that's what they do. Let's talk a little bit more about working for Bejamas. Help us out here, people at Bejamas. Okay, so in the header of the careers page, they say, we don't have a type. If we vibe, we vibe. We believe and trust the talent of our teammates and allow them to take ownership of their projects. Again, like, just taking notes straight out of my heart.
I know why you chose this company, Jeff.
Yeah, right? I've got a through line here. I've got a theme.
You've got a type.
I know. I really do.
If this was dating companies, you've got a type.
Yeah, I do.
Let you be autonomous.
Another map, which you like. They've got a map of people working all over the world. Yeah, it's a good one. The world is our workspace. Remote first is crossed out and it says remote only. Again, this is good stuff. Yeah.
Loving it. More stars from me.
Great language here. We are a remote only company. We have team members in 10 plus countries. This is pretty cool. This transparency. There's a section in here that's just purely transparent. Tons of confidence in this company. Health check. This is what people answered at the company about working for them. 2% of the people see themselves working at Bejamas. It says Bejamas. I guess they renamed themselves Bejamas in 1 year.
That's like their nickname. They're so cute.
Yeah. They gave it a 5.04 out of 6 on the question if working in Bejamas allows them to have a good work-life balance. 6 is an absolutely yes. A 5.04 if working allows them to learn new skills, constantly develop themselves. It's great. 5.08, how satisfied they are with working with the company overall. So 5.08 out of 6. And then they link directly to their Glassdoor reviews. For those who don't know, Glassdoor is a employee review platform where you can review the company that you work for. It's kind of a good tool to get an understanding of what people are saying about actually working for the company. They give actual written feedback about what it's like to work for individual companies. Beware, read some of these with a critical eye. Some of them look like they're written by management. So as you're reading through them, read through them carefully. You may get tricked.
Yeah, one thing I want to actually point out two quick things you say as you move me to the next thing. But the one I just want to circle back on, like, we're not remote. You said it was like crossed out first and says remote only. So a lot of, if you're listening, maybe this term is new to you. We live and breathe this. So a lot of companies will say like we're remote first, meaning it's not a company that's like mostly in person and then occasional people work remotely. If they say remote first, it's like mostly they're focusing on like remote work from wherever, and then maybe some people could be in an office. So when it says, I love this new phrase, I want to, like, anything on the Anywhere Atlas that we have found and included on there is remote only. So I love that they're using this phrase, and it's like, we're one step beyond. We're not just remote first, we're remote only. That language says like so much, and they've clearly gone above and beyond to say that. So again, we have looked through, I cannot even tell you how many companies till we are bleary-eyed building this atlas of tens of thousands of companies. And there's some times where Jeff and I can look at it to get, like, the people on our team have found it. It's like, this might be remote, it might not. Can you guys take a look? And Jeff and I will look together, and it's still unclear to us. We're like, can you work from anywhere? Can you not? Or some people are not. It's confusing, even to us who are like, have a very trained eye. So we love and appreciate for you when companies just go and straight say that. So I loved that. And then also, this is something you mentioned at the beginning, the language they use, like they're cussing on the website. And then you mentioned something like, if we vibe, we vibe. This might seem kind of like, this is sort of like that subconscious stuff that's going on. But as you read this, like, you can tell the type of company you're going to work for. Sometimes by the photos, the imagery they use, the language. But like, if this is the type of company I would want to work for, simply from the language that you're saying that we're reading here, like, if we vibe, we vibe. I'm like, great. If we don't vibe, I don't want to work there, you know? So, but that's very different than a very corporate company that would be like, we like to work with very professional people. Like, I almost like want to use a different tone. Like, you can hear their tone, and this copywriting, it's intentional, and it,
fast-paced environment, like all this.
Woof, yes.
Oh yeah, vomit, terrible.
Woof. More company says that, I'm gonna cry. I want a slow paced. I want an easy, fun company. But no, like, you work hard when you have it. So anyway, I just want to say, like, and you might not, maybe if you hear that, you might be like, I don't like that. So that's also really great. It's the same with like a dating profile. Again, if someone uses some weird term or has a picture, it's meant to like bring in the right people and repel the people who it's not meant for. So pay attention to, you'll probably subconsciously do it, but I just want to point it out as we're going through this, because the language, the pictures, the things they say and do, like, you can get a feel for how you'll be treated, what the environment is like, what the culture is like. So it's kind of these unspoken things that you can learn to pay attention to.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You can read so much into the language. You really can.
Yeah.
And they're writing that language intentionally, trust me. Like this,
Yes.
There's a lot of people going into thinking about how they're expressing themselves. So this is very, very intentional. A few more things here.
Okay.
They say, this is interesting, I haven't seen this very often, 145 hours of flexible work. We're all about efficiency, not about spending your life away in front of your computer. So flexible hours, meaning...
I don't know, what does that mean?
Flexible hours, it's not specific, but generally I would assume that means work the hours that are convenient to you. So that's what I used to tell my employees that work for me. It's like, I really don't care if you're a night person and you thrive working at like 9 p.m. until 11 a.m., you know, whatever. Like, whatever your hours are, like, I'm all about get your job done and do it in the most convenient way to you possible. You sure make your meetings be available during, if you have normal business hours, just be available. But if you're like productive during a certain period of time, do it then. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. And that's what I take out of that.
Okay, cool.
Asynchronous work, we already talked about that. Choose your most productive hours and tailor your job to your life.
I think that is so underrated. Like, if I could even like up the Anywhere Atlas, I would be like, work from anywhere, but also like go for the asynchronous hours as well. I think that's something just, I don't know if you as listeners probably, I feel like if you're not yet working from anywhere, like the thought of working asynchronously maybe hasn't crossed your mind. But I'm telling you, like, when you start traveling and you want to be in Africa or Asia or in Europe, and you're like, fuck, I got to work at 3 a.m. because that means it's this time and wherever time zone, like, not fun. So anytime you see these asynchronous hours, which means, like Jeff just said, whatever time you want to work, get your work done. And sometimes you might have to like get on a call with a team member at, you know, a time that works for both of you. But in general, you're not tied to 9 to 5 of whatever time zone. So you can go to the beach in the morning, work in the afternoon when you're productive, eat lunch, work again at midnight if you feel like it, or don't. You know, it's like, get your work done. And that is like the top tier of, it's like work from anywhere and work asynchronously, and you are golden as a digital nomad traveler.
Yeah, again, really good language to look for. To round this thing out, there's a few more beliefs that they have about working for the company. One is honesty. We believe that working remotely calls for radical transparency and truthfulness, both to our clients and ourselves. I agree with that. Open-mindedness, constructive feedback, empathy, and responsibility. We base our work culture on mutual trust to make things work. All of us need to be committed and feel responsible for our tasks. I love that. A couple open positions right now. There's an engineering manager, which they call a tribe chief. That's the first one I've heard. And then a full stack engineer, front end inclined. But keep an eye on the careers page because these things change very, very quickly. Okay, that is Bejamas.
I want to
Bejamas.
add one little quick thing to them.
Yeah,
I think I stumbled on their about page, but we didn't talk about the size of the last company. I don't know how big Automattic was, but this one says, it's pretty cool on here. It says 49 team members. So pretty small, like not tiny, but like good small company. 7 years in business and 200 plus projects completed. So 7 years in business is a lot. 49 team members is a decent amount. It's not like gigantic, but it's, it's not nothing. So again, if you're thinking like, who are these companies? Are they legitimate? Are they going to crash and go under tomorrow while you're living in Japan? No, this seems like pretty reliable. The fact that they have this many people, they've been in business this many years, like it's small, it's nimble, and that's what probably allows them to be so cool and forward thinking. And I just also love their copywriting is good. So this will either bring you in or turn you away. But on their About Me page, it says, we are a bunch of passionate nerds who grew web experts, driven by curiosity and desire to push boundaries. So if you're a fellow nerd, you might be like, hell yeah. And if you're not, you're like, I don't want to work with all the nerds, Again, like look at the language people are using, and I love that they're using that.
And we'll just pause right there to let you know what we're keep referencing over and over again, this Anywhere Atlas is a database that we've built as a result of over 3 years of going through literally tens of thousands of companies, doing just what we talked about, reviewing all of these careers pages, the About Us pages, and trying to determine, is the company a remote-only company or not? Do they hire employees that can work from anywhere in the world? And for each of these companies that actually did make the list, we have expert written reviews of the companies. We've talked about what they do, why it's an awesome remote culture, all the things that we're talking about here on the podcast, the perks that they offer their employees, and links to their careers pages. And this gives you an excellent opportunity to find the companies that you actually want to work for. And then now that you've got, this list of companies that you've found, this frees up all of that time that you would spend, which is hours and hours each week trying to track down these companies that actually let you work from anywhere, frees up that time so that you can start to do the things that are actually going to be likely to get you hired, right? So that is connecting with the people at the company, tailoring your resume for the specific company, trying to figure out which roles in the company you might actually want to work for, and nailing all that stuff down. So essentially, this cuts out the 90% of the time and just lets you focus on the things that are actually going to get you hired and become a digital nomad as quickly as possible.
Amazing. All right, so check that out. Also go to beachcommute.com/atlas if that is sounding exciting to you, if you want to join, if you want to get access to over 300 of these companies that are often just like these that we're pulling out. Every company is different. There's all different industries, but we've checked and made sure that they let you work from anywhere, just like these. And it's really hard to find these, by the way. We promise. We've looked for years, searched through thousands. A lot of them are unclear. If anything's unclear, we don't include them. So check out beachcommute.com/atlas for more companies like Bejamas, Bejamas.
I'm going Bahamas.
Bahamas? We should be taking bets.
Okay, I'm going Bahamas. I got 5 on Bahamas.
All right. Well, then I'm going Bejamas then. I would have guessed, but
I like the sound of Bejamas better, but we'll leave that for another day.
So with that, Jeff, what is number 3 on the list?
Number 3 is Outseta, Outseta. Outseta is for like entrepreneurs, small businesses, startups. It's essentially an all-in-one tool that helps them get started, right? So they will help you with things like accepting Stripe payments, email marketing, authentication, a CRM, which is a customer relationship management. So like if you've got a bunch of contacts in your database and you want to figure out who you've talked to try to sell to, who have you emailed in the past, which people have opened those emails, all that stuff. It's just one tool to do all of these things. Because any of you who've worked for a small organization or an organization of any size, you realize that there's like a tech stack this thick. You could have like 6 or 7 tools all doing different things, and you're trying to synchronize them all together. This does everything all in one place, simplifying it for you. I feel like I should get paid for that pitch. That felt pretty good.
That was good.
I just did that reading their explanation page.
That means they've done a good job explaining it to you. But that's interesting. These are 3 kind of, I don't think this is purposeful, but they're 3 kind of like techie type companies that you've chosen here. Yeah. And again, they hire all sorts of roles, but they themselves are in the tech sort of space.
Yeah, exactly. So if you work at Outseta, I'll send you my Venmo and you can just shoot me a payment, a referral, whatever you want, however you want to compensate me. Totally fine with me. Let's talk about what it's like to work there. I actually talked about these guys briefly in a previous podcast because they've got one of the best careers pages I've ever seen. It is this long. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm just going to read you the bullet points because it's really lengthy. Bullet points. Everyone is an owner, so everybody gets equity in the business, which is pretty cool. Purposely
Amazing.
Small and independent, so they like working as a small team. I kind of like that as well. This is interesting. I've never seen this before. I'd like to get your reaction. Standardized pay and flexible schedule. So let me read this to you. Everybody on our team can choose to work anywhere from 1 to 5 days per week, and we pay everybody the same. Issues of income inequality just flew out the window. A full-time salary at Outseta is $210,000 per year for everyone. You ever heard of that?
Never. I've heard of, no, not that. I've heard of like some different like bands being like everyone with this much experience gets like this much. Everyone at this level gets this much. Or like CEOs only make up to this much more than these. But I've never heard of just like, it's like living in Cuba. You're just like, do what you want. Here you go. I know that's wild.
I mean, we were talking about flexible schedules, but this takes it to a whole nother level. Work 1 to 5 days per week. You get paid. I don't know how this works out, like on a scalable. I guess that they keep their team small for that purpose. So they don't have to, manage that kind of thing. But yeah,
that's pretty fascinating.
It's pretty fascinating. I've never heard of this before.
It's interesting because you can't, I have to say one more thing about it. I feel like in ways it's like it's transparent, everybody's equal, it's cool. But imagine, like, I feel like so much of what keeps us driven is like, I can get a bonus, I can like keep working and get promoted. So it's really interesting not to have that. But I could also see on the flip side, just being like, okay, if I'm going to get my work done, I don't have to worry about promotions. I'm just going to do a good job. I'm going to get my stuff done. Like, again, I can see pros and cons, but that's weird and different. I don't know. I don't know. I have to think on that one for a while.
I know. I really got to let that settle. I read that. I'm like, that's just, it's very transparent. Different. I like that aspect, but it's also, I don't know. I'll have to stew on it a little bit.
I would love to like interview the founder and learn more about what's behind that and how it works for them.
Same. So, I kind of want to pick their brain on how that's working out.
Yeah, but pretty cool.
We're self-managed. Self-management is an organizational design that's often known for being devoid of hierarchy, no bosses. I've seen that in practice. I didn't necessarily agree with it in the way we implemented it, so it might work well for them. We want the whole you. I read this actually on a previous podcast. When we choose to work with someone, we're welcoming the entirety of that person to our team, not just the parts of them that are convenient. Love that. They're very, very much about the person, not the employee, right? Let's see. Fully remote, but we party in Greece. Our team is fully remote, always has been, always will be. Benefits and personal freedoms that remote work affords are too much to pass up. But we plan trips to celebrate company milestones, often in the Greek islands. That's pretty cool. Similar to their first company that we were talking about. Okay, there's a few other aspects. I encourage you to check out this page, outseta.com/what we're about. Yeah, any other reactions to that? That's pretty much it. They don't have any open positions listed right now, so keep an eye on them.
Yeah, one interesting thing is, so as I haven't looked at these before, as you guys know, so as Jeff is saying them, I'm going to the website and like live looking at them of what is my first impression. But typically there's a careers page. It says like what we're about, and that's kind of, it does have listings of meet the team and kind of some of their beliefs, but there's no careers tab and there's no like open position. So it's kind of confusing. Like if I went here, I'd be like, do they ever hire? Like there's nothing there. So yeah, that's like a little minus for them, I would say. Like it's not, I think it would still be fabulous to work there, it seems, but it's just interesting that they don't have like a careers link there. So as you were looking at that, I was like, where are you even going to find this information? Because I can't right away. So
yeah,
something to note.
Definitely. Okay, and like I said, there's no open positions that I could find right now. So this is one of those ones where you just gotta, if it sounds great to you, connect with them on LinkedIn, start messaging some of the people at the company, start figuring out who the secondary connections are. Would that be secondary? Yeah, like a secondary connection. Start talking to them. Just see if you can start getting an in.
Get your foot in the door, so when the jobs are live, you already know someone and can start talking and have them put your resume in front of the right person. That is absolutely the way to go. Awesome. So as we wrap up these three, we hope that you take away that these companies are cool. They exist. They let you work from anywhere. When you find these awesome companies, they've got language on their websites that's really telling you that you can work from anywhere. So these aren't just dream imaginary companies. These aren't just like elusive fairy digital nomads traveling the world, not actually working from anyone, not working for any company. These companies are real. They're legitimate. They are long-standing. They pay well, as you just saw. Even like everybody gets $210,000 whether you're working a day or 5 days. That's a bizarre one. We're not saying every company does that. And there's tons of different jobs that you can do for all of these companies. It's not like only marketers or only software engineers can work remotely while they travel the world. You can do this whether, no matter what field you're in, and hopefully you're starting to see that as well. So if you're curious, if you want to hop on our email list, check out beachcommute.com/email. We send out lots of cool companies like these. You'll get notified about tons of different remote job titles and listings you can do. So if you're hearing this and you'd love the freedom to travel anywhere while you're working, but you're not sure what companies, what titles you're looking for, what jobs, highly recommend hopping on our email list because you'll get lots of information about that. So go to beachcommute.com/email. And if you're already ready to join the Atlas, the Anywhere Atlas, go to beachcommute.com/Atlas and get immediate access to over 300 really awesome remote companies just like these that we have already verified and fact-checked and know let you work remotely. And with that, Jeff, anything else you want to share?
No, if you have any questions or any podcast ideas for us, write us in at hello@beachcommute.com. We love hearing from you. Any questions about digital nomad life, fully remote jobs, like I said, podcast ideas, write us in. We love chatting with our audience. And with that, we will see you again next week.